Welcome to Louisiana Heart Beats and welcome Facebook viewers. I hope that you grab your drink of coffee or pop or something and sit back, because today I have a special guest who has a special twist on something you think you may already know. And I want to welcome to the show Miss Viola Fontenot. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, before we start letting her talk, she's got a lot to talk about. I met Miss Viola at one of our Writer Guild of Acadiana's monthly meeting. And so when she decided she was going to publish a book, she kept us updated, and now we're excited because the book is out there. We're going to be talking about her book, which is called A Cajun Girl's Sharecropping Years. Now, I'm not from here originally, so I'm always interested in learning what's going on in the history. My mother-in-law was fantastic about bringing me update on all those hurricanes and all those fixing the meals for the people in the field. And you know, Viola, with your book, which I haven't read yet, but just catching up on you and hearing other people talk about it, I have been part of a farmer's family. And I always fell in love with this one little house that I always saw. And I had the pleasure of being able to go in and meet the people. And all that time, they were called sharecroppers. And I had no idea that even the terminology, what it was about. So today, I'm going to depend on you to share with us. Tell us a little bit about you and your being brought up as a Cajun girl before we actually get into the story. Where are you from?
I was born in Acadia Parish in the country between Church Point and Branch and Richard. They kind of tick down the road, yes. So, and I stayed there in Acadia Parish until the 11th grade, and then my father, the sharecropper, moved in St. Landry Parish. So, but most of my 17 years, I was in Acadia Parish, and then more than a year in St. Landry Parish.
Okay, how many brothers and sisters?
We were 5. I'm the oldest of 5 children, and I'm the oldest of 3 girls and of 5 children.
Well, growing up now, I come from a little different area. I was kind of living on we called it the foster farm. I was from a family of foster children. And so we learned to pick, and we did all kinds of beans, and you name it, and we planted and we dried. What did you help with on the farm, or part of your livelihood?
Well, in a sharecropping farm, the family works side by side.
That I heard.
Yeah, side by side. So by the time I was 6 years old, I was following my mom and dad, wherever, in the cotton rows. We hoed the cotton first.
Okay.
We picked the cotton, and then we planted the sweet potatoes, and then we dug up the sweet potatoes later on in the fall. And then in the meantime, in the other seasons, you picked figs. You canned a lot of stuff. We raised all of our own food. A sharecropper was a poor farmer who did not own any property, and the property owner hired the family, and for 1/3 of the cash crops, but we did all kinds of cannings from. You started with the figs, and then the blackberries, and there was squash, there was watermelon.
I'm going to step right now. And also, too, oh God, this is like bringing back special memories in my childhood, because I am 70, okay? And using the wood stove to washing and doing laundry, scrub boards, and that old-time ironing. My mother-in-law, shared some of the Cajun anything Cajun is just very fascinating. You hook the word Cajun on anything and everybody's going to listen. And what's so unique, Acadiana, of having Miss Viola Fontenot on is that you can read books, but it's mostly men that are sharing their stories, which are awesome. But now here's a lady who was a child in this family that works side by side, and she's telling from a female's point of living. And so was there anything different? What did the men do? Basically, the women, as you got older, did the duties change a little bit? Or was it always cooking, canning, cleaning, and out in the field?
It was always that.
Always that.
Now,
always that.
you did have a lull of the holidays at that point, but for my upbringing, there was no electricity, no running water. We cooked on a black stove. You had to haul the wood in. The book covers how my father, had to go get the wood, and we had to help. After he cut it up, we had to bring it in and stack it. And I say of the three girls, the three oldest, the three girls, we took on the role, and me as the oldest primarily took on the role as the son, because usually sharecroppers, to do a big crop, you needed heavy duty muscles, and girls, these three girls and this girl had no muscles.
There you go. Well, I want to say something real quick to our Kenneth. Can you rotate the email and her name once in a while so that people, if they're interested and would like to contact her, find out possibly where she's going to be signing books? That would be wonderful, and rotate like you normally do. And this is what's amazing, is while you're talking, if anybody's interested, they can email you. Or if they can see the name of your book on the back. So this is awesome. We appreciate AOC for giving us the opportunity to interview people like you. Now back to your story. It's important that you share the story because it's going to help promote your book, but it's also educating us from a different angle. What inspired you? Why did you write this book?
I didn't set out to publish a book. I set out to write the stories of my first 18 years. I spoke French. I was born speaking French. I still do French every week. It is who I am. And I'm the real Cajun girl.
Real Cajun girl,
who spoke French first. And I lost it.
No, you know what, Viola? I married a Cajun boy, full-blooded Cajun boy, and his mother could not hardly speak English, and she would try to teach me, and I tried to understand a little bit of French. So my language, from big, long, fancy words, got narrowed down to hardly nothing, so she could understand, and she herself learned a little English. So I am aware of even my husband, in 70 years old, that he was punished if he spoke French in school. Now that is sad. Now they're bringing it back. Whose idea was that? Isn't it terrible?
Exactly. Both my mother and my father, on both sides of the family, the Fontenot's, Hebert, Doucettes, and Millers, all 4 generations that I was in contact with spoke only French. So I didn't have any opportunities to hear English at all. So when I went to school, I couldn't express myself in English and was punished for speaking French on the school ground. Usually and often write 200 lines, I will not speak French on the school ground anymore. And I myself, experienced that. Other times, depending how rowdy the class was, we were told to go up front and put our hands there and spanked with the ruler. And it was embarrassing and didn't have any self-esteem because you were discounted.
Now, let me ask you this. Being that I'm not Cajun, just a transplant, love this area, stayed when I came, Viola, why would they even do something like that when you're in an area that speaks so much French? Why would they punish you? Did they give you a reason why? Mainly because you were supposed to speak English?
I'm not
For
sure.
punishing you, what was the real reason?
The little bit I'd researched on that was that the state of Louisiana, the French people, the Cajun people, were very clannish. We
Yeah.
did not want to interact with other groups. We did not want to speak the English. We wanted to
Okay.
retain our customs. But in the educational level, I understood that they passed a law that says everybody had to speak English.
I think I remember my mother-in-law telling me.
And so I was in that group where that law was in effect at the time. But I always, I didn't listen to them. I learned English, proud that I am to be able to speak English, but I never, ever dropped my French or my customs, because then I knew more than them. I had both, I was bilingual at that time, but because I didn't know any better, I thought I was inferior. And a shy girl without shoes and, in the country, and I wasn't the only one that was barefoot,
That's
but that
right.
hurt for a
I was going
girl.
to bring that up too, because my husband shared that with me also. And I just lived 4 hours away in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I could not believe
Yeah.
there was such a difference. you know?
It really, is a lost history.
Right.
From the female perspective, that history was not written. It was the missing link.
Right.
And when I started writing the essays, my classmates, who were mostly not from the country, wanted to know more. And my teacher, professor, Miss Cherie Coyne, encouraged me to think.
Yes.
But I didn't. I just kept writing essays. They were never meant to be a book.
So that you said you had not planned on writing a book. So when did you actually start writing? And who was part of your journey of getting you and pushing you to write?
Miss Cherie Coyne.
Cherie Cohen, yeah.
Right, and my classmates all along the way. But I didn't believe I had the qualities to get a book published.
And that's something
I'm a banker. I'm a retired banker, so
you would know. Don't you know everything?
no, I don't know publishing at all.
It's amazing because you know what? I remember when you first mentioned it. How long that you were writing a book, and every little step of the way, when you could, you came to our meeting and you would share, verbally or something, show us a page of what you were doing. How long did it take to write, and then to the day you published it? About how long?
Okay, it took 6 years. The first 2 years, 2009, I started in 2009, 2010, 2011. I was writing the essays. They were just essays.
Essays.
And sometimes in 2010 or 2012, between that time, with Miss Cherie and my classmates, planted the seed that it should be published. And so in 2010 or 2012, I took the essays and just made them all alike.
Well, yeah, okay. all right.
Revised them to where they flowed.
You had your story pre-written.
And then I did some research and I attended some publishing workshops. And of course, Miss Cherie Coyne loaned me her it's a publishing digest. I believe that's the name of it.
I think it is called that.
It's
big.
It's big.
Chicago, Bonnie Chance.
I mean, it's one thing to go to a workshop. It's another thing to actually do the work. And so it was 2 years of that. It was 2 years of revising and making it flow. And it was 6 years before I had a contract. And I was turned down 4 times, I think.
But you didn't you kept on keeping on.
Well, I put it down for 2 years, and I said, I don't want to do that, and I'd cry.
Right. I want to bring up something too, Viola. Being the president of the Writers Guild of Acadiana, I enjoy hearing the stories of what inspired someone, how long, who started you, when did you actually start writing, when, was it published. But what important fact I want to bring up is that when you're going to be doing history kind of stuff, you want to share facts, you want to share life things that actually happened during the era that you're writing. So the kind of book that you have now on that screen, this is history. Okay, this is not like City making up a story and creating characters. This is real life. So you said the key word, research. And when you've got a lot of research to double check facts and stuff like me, there was one thing I put in one of my stories, and I got with a person this couple of days ago, and I said, there's something you said that I want to be sure to quote you right. And I had got it right, but I wanted to be sure that it was actually the quote that she made. So I admire, and I wanted Katie Anna to know too, and inspiring writers out there, that hey, it doesn't mean you're going to write a story in 30 minutes, and doesn't mean you're going to get it published, and doesn't mean it's going to sell right away. But I had a guest that had done a book on a children's book, and it's called Mr. Nurse Gives a Shot for Never Giving Up. And he and I decided somehow we want to create that shot. It's even better than B12, and what that is encouraging people never give up. Now with you, okay, so you wrote this story, you ran into people who encouraged you, and then bam, all of a sudden you got confidence and you put it together, and now you have a book. And it's a different twist because it's coming from the female side of the working sharecropper. But it was a good life. People, I love all this homemade stuff, and I love canning, and I appreciate all that.
It was a hard life, but the Cajuns are not, you work hard and you play hard. That's
Right.
it. And I'm Cajun. I love to dance. I love my Cajun music. I love my French table. And by the way, the Writers Guild helped a lot because I knew John Francois from En Français, and I asked him. Well, I was buying some books, some of his books. What I was doing was buying John Francois' books, 3 or 4 of them. I don't for gifts. For
Yes,
Christmas.
that's right.
And then I mentioned that I was doing this, and that was before I had a publisher.
That's right.
And he offered to read it. And then he encouraged me even more. And that's when I joined the Writers Guild. And when I joined, I did not have a publisher at the time. We were discussing that of self-publishing.
That's right, which is something people are interested in.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows a publisher or wants to spend that much money, but you still want to get your story out there. And to also add something about John Francois,
Yes.
he does volunteer, and believe me, if you're going to write French, he wants you to write it correctly too.
Yes.
And he is the best that I know of that you could get to critique anything French, So we're glad
I was blown away by his offer.
And he was one of the past presidents of the Writers Guild.
I learned that later.
And guess what? Cherie was recently, 8 years ago, the vice president for many years. And that's who ushered me in to be the president.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm. And they disappeared after they left, but they're busy. But Cherie has been a help, and she's so good at writing comments on different people's books.
Oh.
And she's a busy lady.
She's a busy
So
lady.
Cherie Cohen, we thank you for being interested in our authors and encouraging
I
them.
didn't even know she was going to do the forward.
And
I didn't even know.
she does. And so we're now have 5 minutes left in the show, and I think it's awesome that we also want to find out, where have you been? Because Lord, you've been all over Facebook. Where have you been recently in your book signings, and what was it like? Let's just talk about Barnes & Noble. Just so happened that's what's been on Facebook lately. But anyway, when I saw that picture of those people lined up, and I've been to Barnes & Noble and go there often, it was amazing. So when you told me earlier that it was a wonderful turnout, that you had people coming from all over, she is a retired banker. All I saw was people, it looked like they came out of love for you. So share with us what it was like to have all these people coming to you that you hadn't seen in years that come from all over for your book and to see you.
I was blown away. I could only see the people in front of me, and kind of glanced at the lineup, and I just couldn't believe that these people had driven from New Orleans, from Eunice, from Church Point, from New Iberia, well, and my children from Texas, from Tomball, Texas.
It was amazing.
And I didn't even know, well, I'm
Now,
inexperienced.
how did those people find out that you were going to have a book signing?
Well, I called a lot of people. I
Okay.
stay in the French table every week. I'm big in the culture. I volunteered at the school. 3 of my kids here in Lafayette are in French immersion school.
Yeah.
So I volunteered some time, but I stay in touch with families and friends. And my friends in Church Point and my friends in Eunice, they all posted some stuff. It was
Well, let me tell you what. You're on the right track because you yourself are the best salesperson. You definitely are out there. You definitely keep in contact. You're sharing everywhere you go. And different people in different towns will share with other people. And that's what I love about networking. And marketing is the hardest thing. And we don't want to talk about money, but I will tell you that you are the best marketer. You know what your book's about. You know where you'd like it. And just you being connected to the French table and John Francois and people like Cherie Cohen, things are falling into place. And I just know that I know from personal experience that your book signing was very successful compared to a lot, but you did a lot of work letting people know and keeping in contact. So, you know, anybody can write a book. All right, if you want to just write a book and you want to get it printed, okay, there's a difference between printed and published. But if you really want other people outside of Lafayette, you know, or this area knowing about your book, then later on you learn. You learn as you go. We make mistakes, but the most important thing is about you. This is your story, and so therefore you know what you want. We learn real fast. Sometimes we go through doors we shouldn't go through, but hey, gotta learn.
Gotta learn,
So with
yeah.
that said, okay, so you've been to places like Barnes & Noble, and you have some book signings coming up, don't
Yeah,
you? Some
right.
kind of festival or something?
I did the book sign Barnes and Nobles. The Rain French Table had me as a guest speaker, which was a very successful book signing. My French table here at Dwyer's in Lafayette was very successful. That was just impromptu, but just about everybody came on board.
Right.
The next book signing is at Books Along the Teche in New Iberia.
When? When is it?
Next Saturday, the 29th.
The 29th, Saturday the 29th.
Starting at 1 until, and there will be a reception that will follow at my niece's house. There'll be directions out
But if
there.
anybody's interested in finding out where these book signings are going to be, they can also take down your email, and they can send her email, and you can update them there too, huh?
I surely can.
Okay,
And I'm on Facebook.
that's right. So key in her name, Viola Fontenot,
And
she'll
call.
come right up. Well, she's even saying if you want, but the best thing to do is to contact her, and you'll go from there, and she'll keep you updated where she's going. And I know we only have about 1 minute left in the show already, and I definitely want to thank you for coming on. It took a while to get you on, like a lot of people, but never give up, and you've done a wonderful job, and this has been much, much fun. Okay, the rolling credits are going to start rolling in a minute, and I want to thank Katie Anna for tuning in. And Facebook, okay, all the information is there.
And
Check
thanks
out
University Press of Mississippi
Okay,
to
yeah.
being interested in history.
And so therefore, she is also going to share with you that that's what you just mentioned. And again, for more information, email her, and she'll give you all that information. And we want to thank you for coming on the show and taking time. And I hope very much success. So far, you got a great start. So your next booking is coming up real soon, and you're going to be out there. And I have planned granddaughter's birthday party, but she's not really having a party, so things may change. She's 29. 25, that one. So I've already got an appointment going on then, but I have been keeping track with you, and thank you. Thank you again. And Katie Anna, if you have a story or if you need information, always feel free to take the emails down that you see on the screen, because the only way you're going to know an answer to your question is do something about it. Email us, and maybe it'll be you on the show next. Thank you so much for tuning in. Facebook, keep on watching. There's more to this story.